views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Sunflower Media Mint. Some programs might include strong images or language that might be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
What can you do with 30 minutes? For us, we define things. Straightforward. New perspectives. No gray area. It is black and white. You're listening to the New You Podcast.
Okay lang na sapato.
Back to the pod. Sige, Gita. Go on. Back to the pod on Thursday, 23rd of July, episode 27. The New You Podcast, back on Facebook. My name is H, together with Reg, and there you go. Gita's on the house for tonight. It's Hueppy T by the New You, since it's Thursday. You can download the previous episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. You can check out also our streams, and of course, we're doing this on Facebook. And then on Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. We also have YouTube, but yeah, you can catch also the video episodes there. Or you can just check out our website. It's www.thenewuph.com. We also have this giveaway promo going, and later on the show, Reg will be vlogging or saying the mechanics for those for that giveaway. But we're giving away a brand new iPhone 11 Pro Max or 50,000 pesos in cash. Of course, collaboration with our trusted giveaway partner, the giveaway account. Well, for tonight, it's Hueppy T. So, let's go a bit chill lang with this discussion. But it's going to be a serious one. Because in this lockdown, like what I mentioned last night, no? Sabi ko nga, I think the only thing that's constant for most of the people right now at home is we all gain weight somehow. Okay? Or, I mean, syempre, meron mga nag-practice dyan. But still, being inside your homes, and then ang accessible ng ref eh. So, yeah, ang accessible ng ref. Parang pag sa office kasi, pag nagutom ka, baba ka or pa-deliver ka, that's it. Pero, pag sa bahay, pag nagutom ka, walks away lang yung ref eh. So, there's a lot of things, yeah, that happens na hindi natin controlled. So, for tonight, it's the new wellness. And our guest for tonight is a myotherapist. Tama ba? Tama. Myotherapist in St. Luke's. Welcome to the show, Filbert. Filbert Tan. Hi, Filbert.
Hey,
Hi,
Filbert.
everyone.
Hey, Filbert.
Yeah.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me.
Well, our pleasure for having you here. When Patty mentioned me about doing, kasalanan ni Patty to eh, lahat ng week na to, itong buong week na to. So it's Patty Chu's idea to have this health week episode. And sabi ko sa kanya, yeah, it's good kasi it's very timely right now. Like last night we had Ida Paras on the show talking about the new fitness, and then tonight we'll have the new wellness with Filbert, because it's really something that we all should be talking about somehow. Okay, maybe yung iba, honestly, honest take on the society, we know for a fact how the society works in the Philippines. Sabihin na natin may mga terms nga tayong privilege, 'di ba? Na talagang sabihin na natin nakakaangat on the society, and then syempre mas malaking majority ng public wherein walang access to this type of discussions. And that's what the new you is all about. We somehow, at sa kaya natin, we equalize it by providing this type of conversations na readily available. And that's the reason why we have the guys like Filbert here, Ida last night, and the other people, real people, doing their own craft. And that's something that we want to talk about tonight. Of course, yan, sabi ko kanina, still on the show with Reg. Reg, antok na?
Hindi. Namati yung mata ko. Sorry.
Okay. So, Reg and Gita. Let's start with, first. Filbert, kamusta? Kamusta quarantine? How are you during this 2 months, 4 months na nako-quarantine tayong lahat?
Okay naman. It's been coping with different kinds of work, but adjusting to quarantine life. So, yeah, pretty good. How are you guys?
Pretty good. Si Gita masaya yan palagi eh. Pag masaya, wala akong trabaho eh. Walang tinatrabaho eh. Well,
Well, it's changing. Nang nag-start yung quarantine, I was the one really swamped with work. And then something happened, and then suddenly my co-host
it's me. Ako
became
na
the
ngayon
one.
yung nahihirapan.
Yeah, because we went back to work already, man. So once a week we're coming back to the office already. That's the
Yeah,
reason
and to
also.
give you context, Harley and I are colleagues during the day. So,
I'm a soon-to-be colleague.
Na-announce mo talaga. Batiin mo na si Miss Jen. Batiin mo na. Anyway,
Hindi, joke. Hindi
go,
ko na sure.
let's go into the new wellness. What's the thing with wellness? I mean, for some, usually pag ganito yung naririnig, it's about diet or what you eat or how's your state of, well, yung physical ano mo. Can we really define this, Filbert, first before we start all of the discussion, so at least who those listening would have this understanding on what they're about to hear for tonight when we talk about wellness? Yeah.
Well, wellness is like it became a buzzword before after the everyone says now everyone's into wellness rather than just fitness, right? So they try to relate wellness with being healthy, but it's a term that envelopes your diet, your lifestyle, your emotional well-being, your physical well-being, even sometimes your spiritual well-being.
Oh.
So when we talk about wellness, I kind of I would say it's a nice blanket term for all of the above, whether it's going to physical, physiological,
Yeah.
emotional, even social. So those I think would be part of the wellness spectrum. So yeah, it's the well-being of a person's, what do you call that? The
package.
5 aspects.
Yeah.
The whole package.
Y-
And I think nowadays we're kind of going into that. Fitness is already starting to take a detour towards wellness, where you'll see a lot of coaches going into emotional wellness as well. So a lot of coaches in fitness are also starting to go into nutritional wellness, and it works also vice versa, where a lot of nutritional coaches go into both emotional, psychological wellness, and even physical coaching. So yeah.
Gita, well, when we had Gita first on the new you, we were talking about body positivity with Gita being the new sexy.
I was a guest.
Started as a guest, now as a host. So,
Yeah.
so with you, Gita, I mean, relating it to your body positivity thing that you're doing, how do you see this? I mean, tong wellness na to.
I actually agree with Filbert na it's a term for everything, like
Okay.
mental health and physical health. Because maybe relating it with my body positivity,
Yeah.
me kasi I'm working towards a goal eh. Parang I want to achieve, I'm happy with my body, definitely. Pero I want to achieve something na to push my limits further pa. And
Yes.
I agree kasi hindi pwedeng diet ka lang eh. Hindi pwedeng
Tama.
workout ka lang. Really a whole package of being mentally healthy, especially yung mental health talaga. Grabe.
Yeah.
Yung pinaka-critical of them all. Kasi without it, how will you survive in the long run din, diba? So I like how you said na fitness coaches are diving into wellness and wellness are diving into fitness kasi we have to realize na it all goes together. We can't just have one. Though it works on its own, it all works, diba? Pero as one, parang it's healthier that way, I think.
Okay. Reg.
I actually have a question for Filbert. Being wellness is more of like an overall well-rounded aspect, diba? Hindi lang just fitness. It caters to all parts of your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
How kasi syempre, diba, we started since nung March. And I think since March, pati ako din mismo, like the first 2 to 3 weeks of March, man, my overall like mental health and physical state was terrible. I was adjusting to the situation of being at home, being away from friends and family. So how were you able to practice or incorporate the things that you do for wellness into that situation when the pandemic happened? Or how could you give tips rather to people who are experiencing that until now?
So I think from a, how do I phrase this? From a spiritual point of view, I think the pandemic came for us as an opportunity for us to actually work on ourselves, or what I call working inwards. So I remember during the first few weeks of ECQ, a lot of people were struggling with coping with, they feel like they have to be productive, everyone's still turned on from all the stress of work,
Yeah.
and then suddenly you take that away and everyone doesn't know what to do. People go on, whether it starts psychologically, they want to work, but they start going on a, I can't work, I don't know what to do. Anxiety hits in, sometimes depression. And what I told most of my friends at that time was, I'm gonna take the opportunity, even though sometimes there's the inner voice that tells you, hey, you should be working right now. I kind of took the first few weeks on ECQ to kind of work in. So I kind of slept, I think, almost
Seryoso.
more than 10 hours a day. Because,
Talaga.
on a normal
Sa'yo?
schedule, yeah. So I was really like sleeping a lot. I also worked on a lot of my own issues in terms of, because another thing is, I believe that every physical issue, physical, emotional, nutritional, all the alls, spiritual issue, it's all interrelated, right? So I kind of took the whole ECQ to kind of work on my physical issues, work on all the pains, and that kind of gave me a sense of calm after that. So I think that for everyone who's dealing with the anxiety and the uncertainty of the
Yeah.
quarantine, try to maximize or utilize the opportunity as a downtime to work on yourself or whatever you can within yourself. So yeah.
So nice. Thank you for sharing that actually. I like what you said about people looking out at the outside more than what is
Yeah.
happening inside. Everyone was so worried about what's happening with the world, but we're, I mean, I can't speak for everyone, syempre, but
Totoo.
we were safe in our homes na, and spiritually, parang, I agree also na God was telling us, hey, you gotta talk to me and sit back and relax. You don't have to do anything first. Just connect with yourself, with your
Pause.
inner. Galing, yeah. Pause lang at life. And imagine, the pandemic paused the whole world at the same time.
Yeah,
Imagine.
it did.
Yeah.
Diba?
And everything will follow. It's something like if we can all just focus on ourselves at this point, you're doing something for all. That's the main point of it. This is the time on a global scale. Imagine if a person will just be responsible about themselves, their own self, and then everyone else is doing that. Everyone's just taking, 'di ba? Sarili mo lang
You
muna.
right.
Yes, yes. And then
Yeah.
you won't see a person na nagpapabaya. And the whole world will be totally fine. That's the ano eh. And then it will just boil down and connect to everything. And well, at this point,
That's a perfect world.
yeah, a perfect world. Yes, a perfect world, definitely. We're at July right now, but still, uncertain pa din eh. We haven't even umabot sa point na we know what we are fighting here. And honestly, on what business economical standpoint, we went GCQ and what there. Of course, there are opinions now. We need to go back to ECQ because the rates of infection is going up again. But
Yeah.
come to think of it, I mean, I'm no supporter of whatever, but you have to be at that balance. Okay? I would hate a lot of social media postings, memes coming out right now because minsan talaga nakakasuka na lang eh. Pero at the same point, um, try to be objective. with what's happening. I think that that's the point. But okay, going back to wellness and other stuff that Filbert is doing. Well, on the pre-show we were talking about traditional Chinese medicine. Okay, and it's something about something good that you mentioned there is, well, it's something that you look into looking backwards to actually move forward. Yeah, I mean, we've heard that before, Reg. It's something that we also heard with Coach Shot Reyes.
Yeah.
For him, it's about bouncing forward, not even bouncing back. But I think with Philbert's practices on traditional Chinese medicine, care to share to us how we can actually leverage on these things that are really available naman na nandyan, that mostly most of the people right now doesn't know or forgot about it.
Well, I think there's a lot of things that if we look
Mm-hmm.
backwards to find the origin,
Yeah.
or locally we have a lot of, even our local, what do you call this, local medicine, our Philippine traditional medicine. There's a lot of, um what's the term I'm trying to find, um anyway, there's a lot of
Gamot ba to, gamot?
power.
Or mga herbal?
No, no, I'm practices.
Practices.
There's a lot of
Ah,
cultural
yeah.
practices. There's a lot of grounding there. There's a lot of grounding into the cultural practices that we do. Whether it's the don't eat late at nights, to bawal, ano yun, wag matulog ng busog, baka
Natamaan ako dun.
Eh, yung mga ano, bawal
I'm trying to
matulog ng
remember
basa yung
Basics.
buhok. Totoo ba
the
yun?
terms. Yeah.
Oo,
There's
bawal yun.
actually a lot of there's a lot of truth to those. And in Chinese medicine, there's actually an explanation behind the science behind that.
Okay.
That's why I kind of got into it.
Mm-mm.
So when I started working in St. Luke's, one of our heads there kind of exposed me to traditional Chinese medicine,
Okay.
and I went into Ateneo to learn about it, and then you kind of understand where all our ancestors started telling us about, hey, you should be eating more vegetables. Hey, you shouldn't skip breakfast. Hey, you should be eating a lot more. You're too skinny. You should eat more. This food is good for you. This food is bad for you. So I kind of looked into that, and I think that that kind of resonated with me.
Mm-mm.
That today everyone's kind of repackaging something to make it into a new thing,
True.
right? In the sense, you can get an element of ancient practice, rebrand it, repackage it, and make it into something new that's going to be trendy. So rather than looking into the new trend that is there, I kind of want to look into why it came to be, or what's the origin of it. So that's kind of how it's like mixed martial arts. Rather than looking into mixed martial arts, I'd rather go into one of the disciplines in mixed martial arts.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I would, why I went into traditional Chinese medicine. So yeah.
That's actually nice. I mean,
It's really
with repackaging things, I mean, like what you are doing right now. I mean, yun nga, pinag-usapan, repackaging what's there, and then making it to appear something new. Kanina we were talking also about diet. Parang I asked about this one diet kanina pre-show. Na kasi it's getting trendy dahil ginagawa ng celebrity or what, and people are just following, 'di ba? I mean, nung umuso keto, hindi naman yan umuso dahil effective talaga or what. That's not the point. The society follows the diet because someone famous is doing that. And it's something na sana, honestly, it's something that that's also what I want to ask. When we talk about diet and wellness or whatever, how relevant or how important it is to really consult someone who knows about these types of diet. Kasi we've heard horror stories about people doing keto and then hindi maganda nangyayari, or other diet na basta sinubukan lang without even consulting. I want the people to understand na hindi lahat ng diet na yan applicable to just any other person. Filbert, on your thing, I mean, like with the traditional Chinese medicine or what, ganyan, di ba? I just want the people to understand na from you guys, of course, kayo yung mga nag-aral na tong whatever practices there is. Let's let the people know how tedious or important it is for you guys to profile a person, and then let's say what um recommend
Yes.
something together for their wellness.
Okay. So in traditional Chinese medicine,
Mm.
we have two basic kinds of, or we divide disease or disharmony into two things. Number
Mm.
one is called stagnation,
Okay.
or I usually call it repetitive stress, and the other one is deficiencies, or I call it undernourishment. So, with regards to diet, you can. I always tell clients or patients we have in the hospital this: whether you're overweight, obese, or whether you're skinny and cachectic, your body technically understands or recognizes you as undernourished. So you can actually be overfed at the same time your body's not absorbing nutrients, and that's
Oh.
where um, when you were asking or you were mentioning about, some people follow somebody's
Yeah.
celebrity diet, somebody just
Mm.
follows this. It's not a one size fits all thing, but
Exactly.
there's a common ground to most diets. And if you look at most diets, it's, well, I don't want to say most diets, but a healthy diet, there's such a thing as eating food, and there's such a thing as eating junk. So I think it's Dr. Mark Hyman who's explaining that there's such a thing as food and there's such a thing as junk. There's no such thing as junk food.
Mm. Mm.
So a lot of people kind of, nowadays people go into trying to quantify nutrition. They try to go into um, measuring a lot of things from macronutrients to calorie counting.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm not a big fan of that.
Eh, si Gita. Gita, ikaw ba?
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Because
So yeah,
why?
I'm not a big fan of that because you can't necessarily quantify the calories in versus calories out here. It's not a
Yeah.
measurable thing.
Mm.
You can't say that
It's not
you
accurate
walk.
100%
Yes,
of the
and
time. Yeah.
actually another thing there is you're not looking at what we would refer to as the thermogenic effect of food, right?
Ah, yeah. Mm-mm.
So
What's that? What's
you
that?
can have
Sorry.
1,000. Yeah. So sample, it's like some foods that are cold in nature, you can be more makabag, right? You feel
Yeah.
bloaty, you feel gassy,
Yeah.
Oh.
right?
Okay.
So those are mostly cold. I just say cold foods, but other foods such as sugar, processed meat, they're more inflammatory, they're more heaty, sometimes they're more acidic. So they're hot foods or cold foods, and that's just kind of scratching the surface in those
Yeah.
climates of food. And each climate will kind of go into your body and react in a certain way. So when you factor in the quantity, or like quantifying, I should only be allowed to eat 2,000 calories a day.
Mm.
Now what if you start eating 2,000 calories a day and all you ate was trying to all you ate was like something like bread or ice cream,
Okay.
2,000 calories worth of ice cream. Even if you fit your macronutrients throughout the day, you can actually be starting to inflame or start to accumulate a lot of phlegm in your body. And, macronutrient wise, you're still there. You're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
acknowledging the qualitative effects, whether you're feeling bloated, whether you're starting to feel pudgy. You can also have an emotional reaction to some foods. So that's the reason I'm kind of not into the
Calorie count.
um quanti yeah. Well, generally quantifying.
Quantifying. Quantifying.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So how do you go about it in terms of your personal diet, or how your relationship with food?
So I kind of look at food right now. I mean, this is overused everywhere. Where think of food as fuel, right? That's what everyone
Yeah.
says. So I literally think of food as fuel. And when we think about food as fuel, what are we really fueling? People just think, oh, okay, muscle, calories in, calories out. But when I'm trying to look into the ancient practice, whether it's in, I think, Ayurveda or yoga, they look into the prana or the life energy of food,
Mm-mm.
right? In Chinese medicine, we
Yeah.
look at the chi of the food.
Okay.
What's the actual vital energy you take from the food? So that's what I try to look at. So if I kind of consumed, or if I moved a lot more, if I'm more fatigued, if I'm feeling drained, then I would get, or if I would consume foods that are higher in energy,
Mm-mm.
which is chi, not necessarily calories, right? So
Yeah.
I tell most of my patients and clients in St. Luke's that whenever you're feeling hungry, eat. You should be eating as much as you want. So
Okay.
that's actually something that, it's an unpopular opinion, because a lot of people tell you that to be fit, to be healthy, you
Exactly.
should be going on calorie deficits,
Bawas
right?
ka, yeah. Oo.
Or you should be avoiding certain, yeah, bawas or something. But the thing is, like what I said earlier, whether you're overweight or whether you're underweight, your body recognizes you to be undernourished,
Yeah.
right? So the only way to kind of remedy that is to be eating more of nourishing foods. So that's kind of my philosophy on that.
Balance talaga, no? It should be a balanced diet.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Balance is kind of relative. Kasi like we have clients that they have I have one client that's has osteoporosis on both knees,
Okay.
right? And she's around, I think, 70 years old, late 70s, 80 years old.
Okay.
And we treated her from not being able to walk, and after 6 months through myotherapy, acupuncture, and also Pilates, she was already able to get off her cane. She can bend her knee. She can climb the stairs. But there are some days that she actually has some inflammation or manas or on her knees
Yeah.
or on her legs,
Mm.
and some days there's none. So one of my colleagues, she said, "Here's what we'll do. Let's kind of monitor everything you eat."
Oh.
And this patient was very disciplined. That she actually took a picture of everything she ate, and we were able to find out that on certain foods she reacts
May react.
in a certain way.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So like hot foods will cause inflammation in her knee. Cold
Oh.
foods will cause some stiffness on the muscles or some muscle atrophies. Right. So that kind of showed me that certain, or there are particular food groups that manifest in your body.
True.
So hot foods, which is primarily sugar, alcohol, very inflammatory foods. They react to hips, necks,
Alcohol
lower
daw.
back pain, stomach acid. Those are some areas there. Then mid back pain, inner thigh pain. Those are cold foods. So that's the nice thing with traditional Chinese medicine is if you look deeper into the classical text, you'll find that it's a whole science that you
Yeah.
can unpack.
Yeah.
And we're
So
just
when you say Chinese medicine, there's really a medicine for the pain that you feel, or it's a program that you
yeah,
do.
Actually, I think that's a very common misconception that traditional Chinese medicine equals acupuncture or traditional Chinese medicine equals herbs,
mm-mm.
right? But when we talk about traditional Chinese medicine, we're actually talking about a whole branch of science,
Okay.
which involves, the lifestyle, the exercise or the movement, the nutrition, and then everything else, the treatments and the therapeutics. So yeah.
So
So
what is it like? For example, a client goes to you, you plan out everything, the diet and the exercise. Is that what it's like? The program that you give them?
when I have clients, like my personal, I don't want to say life coaching clients, but the personal coaching clients, yeah, I sometimes program a movement training for them, movement therapy for them. I treat them once or twice a week with myotherapy or acupuncture. But for some other traditional Chinese medicine practitioners, we see them for 4 to 8 weeks, and every week we're trying to improve an aspect of their health. So it depends.
Interesting.
And traditional Chinese medicine is the field where, as my mentor would say, it's we specialize in sub health, the spectrum of sub health, which means health is when you're completely fine, nothing's wrong with you,
Okay.
and you're healthy. You're like a young baby. You wake up and you can jump, you can run a marathon.
Mm-mm.
The spectrum of sub health is where you start feeling bloated after eating. You start feeling lethargic. You wake up, um, and you want to snooze all the time. Insomnia, anxieties, all these things, things that are not yet classified as a disease. This is the realm of sub health where we start addressing early on before it becomes a disease. So those are the kinds of clients slash patients that we take in, and it depends on the I would say willingness and openness to kind of adapt to a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
Will depend on how successful the working relationship would be. So yeah.
Well, since ano lang ako, side topic lang, since we're at UPT right now, when we talk about alcohol, usually UPT, alam naman Happy Tea yan, di ba? Happy Tea with the Taft Life and guys.
Alcohol.
Alcohol, usapang alcohol. When we talk about alcohol, is it true na talagang it's okay yung wine kesa sa mga hard drinks? I mean, ayoko lang i-compare with beer, pero let's say wine versus hard drinks like rum, whiskey, whatever.
Whiskey.
I'm not.
I just wanna ask it. I mean, ako, ano lang, random lang. I mean, with those who are actually drinking, di ba? Ay, alam niyo naman, umiinom din naman kayo.
Yeah.
With,
What's your take on
oh,
alak?
oo.
Well, I before I got into this lifestyle, I was actually very alcoholic. I'd say so. In college, right? So, and I'm not into wine. I'm not into hard drinks, but I'm into a lot of beer. So, sometimes, you know, I can't say one alcohol is also better than the other
Yeah,
because
yeah.
at the end of the day, there's still alcohol.
Of
They're
course,
refined
of course,
sugars,
of course.
inflammatory. So I don't want to say one is better than the other. I'd say both of them cause certain reaction to your body.
So there's
right?
no such thing.
So, yeah.
Oh, it's something, and the reason why I ask it is really, alam naman natin yung mga myths na yan, di ba? In the society we're in. I'm getting older, so I'll shift to wine para mas healthier, ganito, ganyan. Pero yeah, in reality, like what you said, it's still alcohol. So,
Drink moderately.
yeah, I think it's more of the practice and all.
Yeah.
Going to, go Gita, go.
I have a question. For example, you walk into a buffet and then
Maganda to. Sige.
Buffet.
Sige, Gits. Tuloy mo yan.
you walk into a buffet and then when you look at the food, you know already what like will cause you this. Parang you get to choose your food and what will cause you to be you moody or something. Ganun ba? Sorry. Ganun ba yun? Or what will
Yeah.
like, do you have a meal plan? Or no?
I have a general meal plan that's inspired by the traditional Chinese medicine eating time, and I want to emphasize the eating time is very important there because it's based on the circadian rhythm. And most people don't follow that nowadays, but it's also updated with what's accessible because if you look at the ancient diets, it's all lugao and grains that we
Sarap,
don't even have
lugaw.
in the, not every
Yeah.
access in
Gutom
Philippines,
ako.
right? So yeah, when I go into a buffet, there's two things. Number one is, am I going into the buffet for my I'd like to use the word cheat. I know a lot of people don't like the idea of a cheat day or a cheat meal, and they think everything in
Oh, we like
moderation.
that here.
We like that here.
Yeah,
We
so
like cheat meals.
there are days that I would go into a buffet or a restaurant when I know that okay, I'm just gonna enjoy and I'll just let myself. But I know the effects that's gonna happen. And then there's the some days that I go into, whether it's gonna be a buffet or a restaurant, I kind of have to control what's gonna be going in or what I'm gonna be intaking. So like a lot of people, the mindset of a lot of fitness diets is when you go into buffet, you go get the salad, you go get sashimi.
Oo.
But in traditional Chinese medicine, those are both kind of not the healthiest for you.
What would you
Talaga?
recommend?
Uy, okay to ah.
So
May
there's five
order.
things that yeah. There's an order for me. Number one would be avoiding, and everyone who follows me knows that I always use the word dampness because it's described as a pathogenic condition in Chinese medicine where your body accumulates dampness, which is equivalent to phlegm. So a lot of the ancient or the more traditional medicines practices, they believe that mucus is the source of most disharmonies. So whatever you consume, if it's not digested properly, it becomes mucus, it becomes phlegm, and this eventually becomes disease. So the
Wow.
spectrum then is if it becomes bloaty for you, gassy, and then bloaty, gassy will turn into mucus, phlegm, um, that will start turning into fat, bloat, eventually cholesterol, cysts, tumors, and disease. So it's the same spectrum. It's just how far along the spectrum you're in. So salads and to continue that statement, salads and sashimi are sushis. They are cold in nature and they can be what's called dampening
Mm-mm.
because
Yeah.
raw food is very hard to digest.
Yeah.
Uh, Sushis can't be digested because they're raw. So the body doesn't know what to do with it. So if you imagine consuming something like a raw sashimi,
Mm-mm.
your body doesn't recognize what it is. It wraps it around with mucus and thus the dampness.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
Oh,
Mind blown.
Ang hilig ko pa naman nun. My goodness.
bawal na.
This is a very interesting episode. Actually, for those who missed the start of this, you can download this on Spotify after. Go listen to Filbert do speak his stuff. Because, well, this man speaks whatever that we need to hear right now. Um,
Actually, I don't think I'll ever look at buffets the
the
same
same
way
way
na.
again.
Dahil
Yeah,
sa pag
oo.
I'm
dahil sa
sorry.
pag-explain ni Filbert. Yun na yung may isip ko eh. Yun yung unang may isip ko talaga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it differs
So
between on how the food reacts to your body rin talaga, no? I mean, kanina like when we're talking about diet, it's not really one diet for all like this keto, this pescatarian, whatever diet na we hear right now. It's not for all. Kumbaga, a certain diet, certain food reacts to different people right now.
I just
yeah,
wish that it's more
Yeah, go.
accessible and known to people actually.
yeah.
Like
Actually, we were actually doing a lot of research and giving lectures on this in Ateneo Traditional Chinese Medicine. So we were kind of trying to get people aware that a lot of habits that they're doing, and these are very, some people will just take it for granted. Um, they don't know how it's already starting to. It's like that. Like I have a lot of clients who, when the first time they come to me, their eating habits are: I have a veggie shake in the morning, I have a smoothie in the morning, I have a salad for lunch, but
Mm-mm.
I'm always gassy and bloated,
Mm-mm.
right? So we try to make people more in tune with health rather than a lot of fitness practices that don't take into account the reactions
Mm-mm.
to the body. So like um trying not to say stuff about it, but you know how when you were to go, if you were to go in the buffet, a lot of people would think, okay, let's stay away from the chicharon bulaklak, let's stay
yeah.
Lechon
that's what I'm thinking right
kawali,
now, like the
yeah.
lechon,
Mm-mm.
kawali, and everything. But that technically depends on what you need,
Your
and also
body.
at the same time, what's your landscape, right? Um, some people, my biggest war with a lot of, not war, yeah, probably the war I'd say, is with a lot of clients who come to me with a pulled back. or they pull their back, they get a disc bulge, otherwise known as a
Oh,
slip disc,
yeah.
or they can't walk, sciatica. When you ask them, their habit is usually overtraining and undernourishment. It's a mix of both. And it was just an injury waiting to happen, which means
Yeah.
you get a lot of people who work out, measure that they burn around 300 to 600 calories in an hour, and then they cut their diet by 500 calories. But if you look at their diet, it's not exactly clean. The proportions are kind of off. And then usually they try to prioritize protein, but not digestibility of protein. So if you're trying to get, like, let's say you're trying to get 1 gram to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight, it doesn't necessarily mean your condition, especially after overtraining, can digest all of that. So what happens to excess protein? You know, it also becomes dampness. So when people start wondering, oh, why did I have knee pain? Why did I suddenly have back pain or spastic muscles? You can always look back at the nourishment habits. Are they overtraining? Are they recovering enough? Or are they eating the right stuff? And usually the right stuff is the culprit, right? Or the sanitary stuff.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Man, that's so interesting.
Sobrang ganda. It's good to know. It's good that,
Nag-open talaga yung minds natin ngayon, no, tonight.
yeah. Uh,
I'll do research on that.
like,
Sorry, last question. Did you
go.
study in college?
Okay.
Gita, interview to.
Interview kami, guest natin siya eh.
Uh,
Super.
I studied EB animation in college, and
Oh.
I
Oh.
took up industrial design for concept art in illustration, entertainment
Oh.
design in as a postgraduate.
Oh.
So it's nothing to do with the field, and that's why I also, when I mentioned that I used to drink a lot of alcohol before, there was a part of my life, I was sleeping every day at 3 a.m.,
Wow.
5 a.m.,
Yeah.
eating diets there. And when I started working in St. Luke's, you start being aware that I used to be, at my worst, I was 220 pounds with 36, 38 waistline.
Ako yun ah.
And sorry?
Aray!
Yeah,
Di ako nakailag.
yeah, constant repetitive stress, whether it's repetitive eating habits, stress eating, emotional eating,
Mm-mm.
for sleep. So that used to be me. So I know where I came from that phase, getting
Mm-mm.
into the,
Mm-mm.
I won't say wellness, but this traditional Chinese medicine phase. So yeah.
It's good. It's
Wow.
good to know a lot about this stuff right now. This is something that you don't hear every day. This is something that
Yeah.
you don't get to meet a person na makabangga mo. Uy, tara, usap tayo about traditional Chinese medicine. It's not like that. And it's good that we have Filbert on the show tonight. I mean, for those who are listening right now or downloading this episode afterwards, this is an eye opener for everyone. It's not
Very informative.
really what we think that is right for us. Na yun pala yung tama. I mean, you have to know yourself. And I guess that's something like what we've been talking about wellness, it's a holistic view of oneself. But I have to ask this also. One more thing that you've been doing is more on the movement therapy, right?
Yeah.
Can we talk
Yeah.
about the movement therapy? What's this all about, man?
So like prior to continue this, like the story, prior to getting into college, in art and entertainment, like before that, I got a certification in personal training way back before. Like I left high school, I didn't graduate high school. I went into um personal training, and then I went into the military. So during those times, I kind of dabbled into a lot of coaching, everything. So when I left the art sector and the entertainment stuff, I started resuming going back to personal training. And that opened my eyes into rehab and movement, and that got me into working in St. Luke's. So when I noticed after I think probably 6 months to a year working in the clinic, you have a lot of patients who come in, they pull their back, they have knee pain and everything. And if you rely on a passive therapy, it's easy to manipulate the neck, crack the upper back, crack the lower back,
Set up.
you feel better. And after probably 3 to 7 days, if you didn't change anything with your lifestyle, whether it's going to be your nutritional habit or even your movement habit, that's what I'd say, nothing's gonna change. So I went into, I think it was 2016. I got into looking into animal flow, yin yoga,
Oh yeah.
qigong. So yeah, I started teaching animal flow I think 2018, and around after 2 years, I think I started focusing on using movement as therapy. So
Okay.
instead of me being the one to manipulate people's spines, right?
Okay.
So if somebody has, let's say, somebody has a shoulder impingement, somebody has a neck pain, what I prefer doing is coaching them on how they can learn to use their body using whatever moves. So sometimes you can use. So actually, right before this podcast, I had a class, and we were doing a mixture of floor work from capoeira and some animal flow, some yoga moves, gymnastics, and the whole goal of the class was to rehabilitate the shoulder.
That's good.
So that's what I kind of like focusing on, because the movement ties into what we call meridians in the body. So I'm sure you guys have heard, some people get punctured on certain areas where they're
Yeah.
painful, in acupuncture. We have myofascial meridians, or like connections of muscles. And moving them is the only way to kind of treat them. Thus, my repetitive hashtag of movement is medicine. The
Yeah.
only way to
That's
kind
good.
of
That's nice.
treat fascial adhesions and illnesses or disorders in the body is through movement. And humans were made to move, not necessarily exercise in one. It's not. We're not meant to like do 100 squats or 100 push-ups. We're
Yeah.
meant to move the shoulder in certain ranges until adhesions free up.
Yeah.
And that's what essentially movement therapy is for. Now that ties very well into wellness, the diet and nutrition we're talking about, and the nourishment, because based on where your movement restrictions are, you can kind of look into a traditional Chinese medicine meridian system, and basically know what emotions, what nutrition, and what behavioral patterns the person has had. So if somebody's like always scuba or something
Uh,
always slouching, you can kind of reverse engineer the fascia and the meridians and know, hey, why is he always slouching? Is there tightness in his hips? Why is his hips tight? Does he consume a lot of sugar? Does he consume a lot of bread? Is he eating enough? So it ties together.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. Okay. I'll go pa. Ay.
Gita, ano?
Ang galing, grabe. I'm blown away as in. Kasi there are so many things we don't know about what's going on inside our bodies.
And the
exactly.
thing is, it makes a lot of sense talaga with how Filbert connects it. It makes so much more sense talaga.
Yeah. Wow.
Galing.
So I guess every day is a new day for a person.
Yeah.
What they consume, as in, diba?
Yeah.
Iba talaga eh. There's no set plan of what I'm used to actually. There's no, parang, depende rin siguro sa mga sakit-sakit ng katawan. But at least you're working towards people doing it on their own. Yung parang they don't need to be coached all the time.
True.
Na you're
True.
really working towards na they know how to handle their bodies on their own talaga.
Yeah. I believe kasi parang it's easy for we have a system, we have something called a sick care system, not a healthcare system, right? You go to somebody, you get a certain therapy, treatment, protocol, and you come back when to get the regular checkup, right? I believe in like building resilience of somebody so that they kind of don't have to. I kind of try to tell most of my patients this is or clients. The less I see you, the better the relationship's gonna
Yeah.
be,
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
In a sense. So it's a win-win relationship. So and you can't get that from just doing manual therapy on a table, right? I can't just adjust your spine and come back in 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So what I kind of started getting into was looking into what foods, what emotions there, that ties into that. Because there's a whole chart of that. Like, why are you craving sugar? Why are you craving bread? Right? So
Wow.
whenever you're craving something, like I can admit, like when I have a stressful day from work, I'm looking for crunchy things,
Yes.
right?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Why does somebody look for alcohol when they had an emotional problem?
True.
There's
Totoo.
certain foods that give certain vibes,
Oo.
and then those certain foods react to certain parts of your body.
Mm-mm.
Certain if it's on the outside, if it's like a muscular pain, I think that's still easy to catch. But when it starts becoming a behavior that's less physical, that's even
Yeah.
harder to treat. So yeah.
Very informative.
Okay.
I think that's all,
Yeah.
that's all I can say with this episode. For one, in all of the episodes we had in the new year, we're about episode what, Reg? Episode 27 right now. This is an
Yeah.
episode that I would recommend everyone to download and listen to it again and again and again. The reason why is because it's about learning yourself, learning or knowing who you are actually. This is not
Yeah.
personally when I was talking to Patty about this episode, sige, health week, pa-healthy, papayat, ganito, ganyan, ganyan. Usually ganun yung mga nasa utak ng tao, 'di ba? But coming into this episode and hearing this from Filbert, it's about knowing yourself from the time you wake up in the morning and the time you close your eyes at night. It's about the things that happen to you the whole day. It's the things that it's the food that come across all the things that you did, the emotions you felt, or whatever happened within that day that you try to consume and react differently. And that's really knowing a person, knowing yourself all in all.
Self-awareness.
Exactly.
No?
True. True.
It's like a whole other level of self-awareness
True.
with your body and mental health. Galing. Super.
Mm-mm. Raj, anything?
I'm really speechless, sa totoo lang. Ito yung first guest natin na parang imbis na ang dami kong in-input, nakinig talaga ako. Nakinig ako, nag-notes pa ako. Kaya timing ko kanina, nililista ko siya.
We
I really learned a lot.
we we we
Thank you so much, Filbert,
we
sa
we,
totoo lang.
we became students
Sure.
again. We became students, man. It's really fun to have you here on the show. We would be glad if you would join us again soon, and talk about just
Yeah.
anything else. I mean, outside outside the wellness thing or what or whatever. Anyway, to wrap this up, when we talk about the new wellness, okay, like how we close the show every now and then. Who goes first? Gita. Yo,
Leaders.
yeah.
The new wellness today is very new to me already.
It's really new.
But thank you, Filbert. You really shed so much light upon everything about wellness na. At least now I can be more self-aware and kasi coming from eating junk, as you said,
Yes.
to having a now kasi I've done keto, ganyan, but now with the counting macros, I'm so happy because I get to eat what I want, but good portions. And yun nga talaga, it's really the choices of food. Parang I wouldn't opt to eat a burger. I'd just cook chicken breast or something, diba? It's really food choices eh. But thank you for shedding so much light na there's so much more to know. So at least I don't have to stop here, though I'm super happy with my progress. And from what I was eating before to now, sobrang laki naman ng pinagbago. But
Kasi,
ayun, it's really nice to dive into something new
yeah.
and look at it in a more scientific way din. So, galing lang. Kasi human body, diba? So, galing lang. Thank you. Thank you for that very informative speech topic.
Gita, sinasabi mo lang yun kasi last year puro Shanghai kinakain mo eh.
Ganda naman tayo sa Shanghai, baliw ka.
Ibaon na raw natin
No,
yung
but
kwento ng Shanghai.
it's true naman. Kasi, I mean, personally for me, I don't have a diet. Personally ako, I don't have a diet. But I always try to eat more vegetables than meat, and then proper portioning na lang dun between the meat and like the carbohydrates. Kasi mahilig ako sa leafy greens eh. But other than that, I don't have a strict diet na parang where I don't eat chips, I don't eat sweets, ganon. But honestly, the way you explain the thermogenesis of food, it
Food,
makes
yeah.
so much sense talaga. So much sense. And I'm going to practice being mindful about it na. Like, I have to be very mindful about it because I'm very acidic and I realize lahat ng kinakain ko, puro pampalala ng acidity ko.
Hiling mo pa sa kape.
Ang hilig ko pa sa kape, isa pa yon. So, I need to really do something about it. Otherwise, because like, malala yung acidity ko eh. Baka ma-hospital pa ako dyan.
I think this is the
So,
one for you, Reg.
Well,
I think with wellness kasi it takes a lot of practice in being mindful about the things you do, not just with your food, but like with your spirituality, with your workout, with what you eat, with the number of how long it takes you to eat din. Kasi some people, ang bilis kumain, nagkaka-indigestion, mga
yes,
ganun.
totoo.
It centers a lot on mindfulness eh.
Mm-mm. Anyway,
Yeah, I think
go Filbert. Yeah.
yeah, I think that also that statement mindful can also be a dangerous, like everyone says we're in the age of information,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
But with information is open to misinterpretation.
Exactly.
So that
Hello.
that's why a lot of people say, oh, start monitoring, start over measuring, start doing this, and
Yeah.
start overthinking, and then it becomes a detrimental cycle. So
And
yeah,
then
I
like-
think something that we're not doing enough of is emptying the mind, which sounds very spiritual, but actually going into yourself, whether it's meditating, breathing, just looking into yourself and being aware. Did I have enough food today? Am I really nourishing myself, or did I have something that was just fulfilling a want rather than a need?
I want to do an episode on that one.
Okay.
I mean, emptying one's mind.
That's really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know how to empty my mind.
let's do-
Personally, I'm an overthinker talaga.
I mean,
So,
for people right now, and it's really something that most of us are going into right now, because yun nga, we went to this work from home culture all of a sudden. Honestly, it's something that most of the workers would say na, oh, sana work from home na lang, and then suddenly boom, binigay sa'yo, and then hindi, balik na tayo, hindi pala siya okay, di ba? So, yeah, and then people really suddenly realizing na it doesn't work this way, parang mas malala pa to nung kesa may pumapasok kami sa work. And it's about, of course, the mindset that you have, and like what you mentioned, emptying that mind and being one with yourself or whatever. Something that we have to discuss as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yoga.
yeah,
Yoga
mga,
changes
mga,
my
mga ganyan.
Grabe.
Another thing that
It makes sense.
yeah, Filbert. Before we wrap this up, I mean, from the guru, from whatever I can call this guy right now, from from the master, the new wellness man. How would you say it in your words? The new wellness.
Um, I think if anything needs to change is we need to start shifting away from trying isolated wellness practices. Some people say the foam roller, let's roll out. That's gonna work on taking away our pain. Let's try this new diet. It's gonna help
Yeah.
this. I think you have to be have enough awareness and actualization to figure out and look into why or or what your well-being is. It's an integration of, it's a whole system of, emotions, nutrition, your physiological well-being, your chemistry. So I
Yeah.
think you have to constantly uh, r- consolidate, right? Gather and work inwards to figuring out yourself. And this quarantine, this COVID time, it's a perfect opportunity to kind of focus on yourself. So think of it as we're an individual cell and the earth is an organism. So we
Wow.
just want to focus on this cell as a healthy cell rather than a cancerous tumor,
Exactly.
literally, figuratively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, I think, is what wellness is. You have to integrate to resolve yourself.
Perfect. Wow. My take on this, the new wellness, even though I wouldn't say I'm really credible on this stuff because I don't have a diet. I don't have a diet that I follow. I eat too much, whatever, and then right now I don't really work out a lot. Like what I said to eat the last night, there's no basketball available right now, so talagang walang galaw-galaw eh. Talagang you work from 9 to 6 and all. But going into this episode as a student who wants to learn, and I think most of us who tuned in tonight learned a lot from this episode. And then when we talk about the new wellness, it's really about you.
Yeah.
It's really about the wholeness of a person. We cannot really just talk about wellness with how many hours did you sleep, or how many glass of water did you drink, like what I mean the other people would tell you, or what food did you take today, did you take your breakfast, etc., etc. No, it's like what I said earlier, it's from the moment you open your eyes and until you close it. And kulang pala yun eh, it's even the time that you sleep, it's also part of that, because there comes a point wherein you're sleeping but still you're stressed,
Yeah.
and that's still part of wellness. So it's the whole 24 hour, it's the whole 24 package, it's the whole you. Filbert, thank you. Um, Thank you,
Thank you, guys.
and we hope to have you here again on the show. I mean, personally, this is my most favorite episode right now because I learned a lot, and it's something that I want to, what the new you is all about, what we want to share to those who are listening, downloading whatever the episodes and Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. This is something new that people would learn, and this is something that we're giving away for free. And at the same time, it's something that it's not just available after this on internet, but it's something interpreted from a person who's actually practicing it. Kasi it's a different thing eh, like what you mentioned, diba? Information is available. Even right now, I can just search on Google, what's wellness? And then I can just read and all and that. And then aabot ako sa portion na nakaka-stress na yung mga nababasa ko, then you get stressed and all. So, this is new. Thank you for joining us. Reg, anything else?
We have a giveaway. It's my turn to plug. Sorry, guys. Natawa na naman ako sa sarili ko. Kasi second time in a row na hindi ako marunong mag Pasensya na, guys.
Nag-essay ka, no?
Hirap ako talaga, sorry.
Gumagawa ka ng essay?
Hindi.
Okay.
Tapos na ako. Ano ba? What do you think of me, ha?
Okay.
Thinking of you. The joke.
Kadiri
So,
ka.
ginawa ko din kanina umaga. Ano ba? Okay. So, for those who are watching, alam mo naman, it's always my time to shine kapag end ng episode. It's my time to plug everything, all the social media handles. So, I'm getting known for that na eh. Yun na. Ako na yung magpa-plug ng lahat ng handles. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys have enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like our Facebook page at facebook.com/thenewhueph and go to our Instagram right now because we have a giveaway this week. So We are partnering up again with the giveaway account to do a second giveaway, which is a grand prize of an iPhone 11 Pro Max or 50,000 pesos in cash. But don't worry, because we have a second, a third prize, and five consolation prizes as well. So go to our Instagram at the new UPH. The mechanics are all there in the post and Filbert's post as well. Don't forget to follow the giveaway account and follow all the accounts that the giveaway account is following. Like the photo and tag your friends. So one friend per comment. All the rules and guidelines are there. Its giveaway closes on July 26th at 10 p.m. and the winners will be drawn on June 27th, 5 p.m. via YouTube Live.
Perfect. Uh, Gita, anything to say?
Nothing. I'm just so happy. And I'm really
Lost of words ka. Filbert, your part, where can they can actually find you? I mean, dun sa mga gustong kausap ka, consult you, whatever other stuff you do.
Yeah, I have a Facebook page on, I think it's Filbert Tan Facebook page, or I'm on Instagram at Filbert Tan. And at the moment we're kind of closed in St. Luke's, but you can contact me online. So I also have consultations and clinic.
It's good. So you do also online consultations right now?
Yes.
Perfect.
Some people are still not ready to see people, so
yeah. Okay, for the new you, tomorrow we have you mood tomorrow by the new you, and we'll have Patty T. Thompson. Patty just got married. Reg?
Yeah,
Mark saw it, so we posted it.
I saw.
Congratulations, best wishes, Mark and Patty, the Thompsons. So we'll have Patty tomorrow to close off the health week for the new you, and we'll be launching her playlist, the workout playlist by Patty Thompson. So watch out for that. Well, yeah, that's about it for tonight. Thank you again, everyone, for those who listened to tune in, supported us. Thank you so much for those who are listening from New York, from Australia, the Netherlands, wherever, UAE, Dubai. We're seeing that. We're seeing your comments, and sobrang thank you. We're so thankful for all of the support. And watch out for future developments for the new you as we are capping the season next week. So we'll have our season finale because we're working for something new. As always, we're something bigger. And like for what we said, what we announced last night, we're having Unite. It's a music fest. It's an online music fest with DJs, acoustics, bands, rappers, whatever, all OPM. Okay, so watch out for that. And the other future shows. So we're working on something. But again, for tonight, thank you. The new wellness episode 27, about to wrap things up. Together with Reg and Gita, and of course Filbert. Still, yeah, the show will always be in black and white. Wherever we go, if ever we go to Bounce Back Network, or we have our own network in the near future. Wow, near future.
Claim it.
Yeah, claim it. All shows will be in black and white. Always straightforward. Always the you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.